Today we're going to be soft washing this house using the X-Jet system. What's up guys, my name is Ben. I own Blue Ladder, a window cleaning company out here in McKinney, Texas. And we've been going for about 5 years here. I owned another company in New York for 7 years that I sold. And then I had another business out in California where I just do window cleaning. So today we're going to be soft washing this house and I'll walk you through the process from A to Z. So real quickly, before we get into the weeds, let's go ahead and make sure we break down just what are the basic principles of soft washing. Now, if you've got the right equipment, I love the X-Jet. You can also use a chemical injector for a lot of situations where it's just a downstream injector. A little piece with a barb on it that hooks up on the hose right where it plugs into the pressure washer. So it's after the water comes out of the pressure washer, it sucks the chemical up through the hose and gets applied to whatever surface you're trying to clean. This does a very similar function, except this doesn't have a little ball spring in it. It's just hollow. And this connects at the tip where you're spraying. This pulls a lot more chemical than a downstream injector. This is an X-Jet, and it simply goes on the tip like any other tip you'd have for a pressure washer. And that little barb hooks up to a chemical hose that then can go to a tank. Now, obviously, this is an X-Jet pail. You can buy these jugs other places, but they're very handy. It has a drop stick in there that pulls from the bottom, and if you happen to tip it over, it's not going to make as big of a mess. Now, you don't have to use that. You can use just a simple pump sprayer. With this, it's more foolproof. You can also batch mix with a 12-volt pump. Both the way you would apply that and the way you would apply this are the same. You mix it at the ratio that you want your bleach. Now, bleach, if you buy it from Walmart or down the road at a Home Depot or something, you're going to be dealing with, I believe it's marked at 10% for bleach, or sodium hypochlorite. SH for short, right? So with that, you want to dilute it, usually 1 to 5 down to 1 to 10. If it's 10% and you put, 1 gallon, well, let's say if it's in a batch mix, 1 gallon of bleach, 9 gallons of water, that makes 10 gallons total. That would be 10% of it would be the bleach. So if you're using 10% bleach, that would make it 1%. If you want it to be a little more diluted, a little smaller percentage, you add a little bit more water. Same thing would apply to this, 1 part water to 9 parts bleach. 1% does a pretty good job for a lot of house exteriors. You can get by with probably 0.75% for vinyl siding and stuff. Here in Texas, we don't get as much organic growth, but when we do, it's pretty heavy. It's usually on the stonework. And with that, we want a little bit heavier percentage. We want to get closer to 2-3% on those ones. So we're going to go more like 1 to 5 or 1 to 4. The more organic material you need to clean, the more bleach you'll have in the ratio. With the X-Jet, you have to do a little bit more math, but in general, you can fill up one of these buckets. If you want to go straight bleach, you come around 2.7 or so. It varies from machine and orifice, whatever you have set up. So you got to do your own calculations. That's not what this video is about. What you can do is you spray the surface. First, you want to prepare all the area around you. If there's organic growth on the building and you're going to use bleach, you got to make sure that organic growth that you want to keep alive, like bushes or flowers or other plants that they might have, as well as surfaces that might be metallic or could be corrosive, outlets, all that thing. Prepare that, cover it up with plastic or tape or whatever, and spray the plants, hydrate them really well. You can apply the bleach directly using one of these pump sprayers, diluted at the ideal percentage depending on the surface. Again, 0.75% works for a lot of situations. Sometimes you want to go a little heavier. Brick and stone, you might want more. Figure out the calculations for your particular application. That's kind of the guideline though. You can go directly, and it's good to have a pump sprayer on hand no matter what, because sometimes your pressure washer machine might go down and you're in a pinch. You just have to finish one side of the house. It takes a lot longer, but you can hit the whole side of a house with a pump sprayer and rinse it with a garden hose. If things came, worst came to worst, you can hit it that way. If you don't have a pressure washer, you can apply the chemical using the pump sprayer and then scrub it with the scrubbing brush and then rinse it with a garden hose. That will get you through. So you can always have a fail-safe method as a backup in case you have not a chemical failure, but a mechanical failure. So I hope that helps to explain. We want to rinse the peripheral area, particularly the plants, protect everything, apply the chemical, and then rinse it all off. You apply the chemical from the bottom and go up, and then hit the darker spots an extra time if you need to. Then you can rinse everything going from the top down. If there's any residual mold stains or algae stains or things that are embedded into the wall still, you can hit it one more time with another set of bleach. In those situations, if I've soft washed the whole house and nothing has come off, or rather there's parts that haven't come off, sometimes there's darker spots that are behind everything and you have to hit them again with a higher percentage of bleach. Sometimes I'll take a pump sprayer and I'll do 50-50, a gallon of bleach and a gallon of water with a little bit of a surfactant, or just depends how bad it is. The worse it is, the more I'll put the bleach. And I'll apply it directly using the pump sprayer if there's any particular spots that I need to touch up. Then I can go through and rinse it again with the pressure washer, and usually we're good to go. At the most, with natural stone out here in Texas, sometimes I've had to do 3 coats with 50-50 solution. So find every situation. If you understand those basics, you should be good to go. With that said, let's get into soft washing with an XJet on this is a vinyl siding house. First thing we do is we hook up the water. It's filling up right now. We actually have a Hudson float valve on there so that it won't overfill. That's about max capacity right there. A couple 100 gallons, a little less actually, about 150 gallons, and it won't go beyond that. Don't worry, we have a strong axle there. It can hold all the weight while we're parked. We always tow that trailer empty. So it fills up, and then while it's filling up, we go around and we tape up all of the different outlets. Thankfully, these are in pretty good shape, but we put a little bit extra. Cover up the actual outlet right there and then around the exterior part of it to make sure it's all good to go. No more outlets over here. And then another thing we've had issues with in the past is around old doorways. And so right now we're using white 3M tape. We prefer to use the red, but this is just what we had. And we just make sure we have a nice seal going around the entire perimeter and including the bottom. Now, if these were in really good shape, if these doors were in really good shape, then we could probably get by with a lot less tape. But we just want to be careful. So we're going through and taping every single doorway that looks like that one and all of the outlets. So once everything's taped up, always be mindful of any light fixtures. Remember that bleach that we're going to be spraying on the house is corrosive and it can cause issues to the electrical circuit. And so we don't want to have to replace any circuit breakers or any outlets or anything else. We don't like electrical work. That's not what we're here to do. That costs too much money for us. Avoid those mistakes just by using a couple bucks of tape. Now that we've gotten all of the different outlets and light fixtures all in a safe and secure method, we let out the hose. We run it out all the way to the back edge of the building. And so we feather the hose like this, zigzag it, so that way when we get around a corner, we'll have really easy pulling. So if I need a little extra slack, it's easy for me to pull it. It's not gonna drag, it's not gonna catch on anything. We've removed all the barriers out of the way. And we start, obviously, from the location of the hose reel on the trailer, and we get around, we go down the side of the house and across the back. And once we've gone basically both the front and the side of the house, or rather the side and the back, we stop at that corner and then we're able to start there, work our way around, and then finish right where we started. Now, I said earlier in the video that we're actually going to be using the XJet system. So with that, we have the XJet pail, and it's got this little line here. This drops down to the bottom of the bucket, and so that it just sucks everything up. We have about 3 gallons of bleach in there, and we're going to add 1.5 gallons, 2 gallons of water. We don't have a lot of organic growth right here on this house in particular. We're in northern Texas. A lot of houses just mostly have dust and dirt and cobwebs. So we need a little bit of bleach, but we don't need a lot. And your mix will vary depending on your application and the XJet that you're using and the machine that you have. But essentially, we want something around 0.75% to 1%. If we go a little bit more powerful than that, it's okay. We're just wasting bleach at that point. Again, we could probably get by with even less because we have so little organic growth here. But with that, I'm at a few ounces of the Peel Power from Window Cleaning Resource. I definitely like the smell of it. It's a lemony scent, obviously. That citrus smell does a really good job of masking everything. Plus, the surfactant helps to kind of accelerate the work of the bleach. It helps penetrate the surface, whatever you're actually trying to clean with the bleach. So you can obviously use Dawn dish soap or something else if you want to, but I like using the professional grade chemicals. They do work a little bit better. They give you a little bit of an edge. It does make a difference, although you can survive without it. But I love the Peel Power. It works a great job. It does a great job every time. So with that, I'm going to take my bucket over there, and I also recommend getting these pails. Some people will just set it in a 5-gallon bucket with a siphon hose. And you can get by with that, but your chances of knocking down that bucket and it spilling everywhere are a lot higher than if you have a covered pail like this. Now, this isn't completely foolproof. It has this little hole up here. It's a breathe hole. It lets the air to come in so that this whole bottle doesn't shrink when you're pulling all the liquid out through this little hose. But we're gonna hook that up to the barb on our X-Jet, and we got about 10 feet of slack on there so we can set it on the ground and move around if we need to. So let's hook up and get going. In case you were wondering, I have this 8 gallon per minute beast of a machine, little Honda GX690. It does a fantastic job. 8.5 gallons per minute, I think is what it's officially rated at. But for the sake of things, we'll just call it 8 gallons per minute. You don't need a machine this powerful for house washes. This does a great job. I love it, but I wish I had something, honestly, if I had like a 5.5 gallon per minute instead, I wouldn't regret it, because this is just a beast to haul around, and you can't really put it in the bed of your truck without really causing damage to your truck suspension. So with 5.5 gallons per minute, you could fit that in your truck with like a 50 gallon buffer tank. This one, you'd kind of need like a 100 gallon buffer, and I just don't want to put the wear and tear on my truck with this big of a unit. Hot burner unit, we're not going to be using that on a house wash hardly ever, unless it's like a particular situation with brick, with something that we have to get off before they're painting it. Rarely use that for a house wash. So you can get by with a house wash with the bare minimum. You could even do just a spray bottle with some bleach in it and then rinse it with a garden hose if you had to. Agitate it with a brush maybe. But we're sidestepping all that. This will make it so that we have fast work. This is the X-Jet. We got the barb on here. This little thing, it gets tight and makes a fans pattern, or it opens up and it will spray directly in a pinpoint kind of shape. So with that, we can reach to the top of any 2-story home, no problem. Mostly we could get almost 40 feet or so. Depending on the wind, we might be able to go a little bit higher. So this gets us through everything that we have to deal with on a residential home here in Texas. Mind you, we don't have basements. If you have basements, you might have a whole different height to work with. So when we're actually wanting to apply the liquid, we just hook up to this barb. The pressure pushes through, and then it pulls through this little orifice here. And whatever's in here will be applied to the side of the house. You can adjust these. They have all kinds of different settings, different tips you can put on the inside of this. Look at the manual if you order an X-Jet. I'll have a link in the description if you want one. Window Cleaning Resource does sell them at a pretty good price. They're usually the cheapest for everything. So with that said, it's usually for mine about 1 to 5 ratio. So applying straight bleach would be a little bit much for this, like we discussed earlier. I have this diluted with a little bit of water so that it comes out to about 1%. So with that said, I don't want to start with this hooked up. We have to spray water first. So we're going to rinse the glass first. Anything that we're worried that the bleach could corrode, we're going to spray that as well. And then if we have plants, obviously there's no plants right here. It makes it really easy for us. Usually we want to drench it down with water first. So when we get to a situation with a garden or any type of organic growth that we want to keep alive, we want to make sure we hydrate that really, really well before we apply any bleach. So first thing we do, turn on the pressure washer, spray water on the side where we're going to be applying the chemical, and get going. Usually we can start on one side. I can get maybe 2 sides of the house done with applying the bleach, and then go back to the beginning and rinse it all off. If you want to give it about maybe 10 to 15 minutes dwell time, a little bit more if it's cooler day, and basically the cooler it is, the less the bleach works, or the slower it works. So if you get a warmer day, today we got really good weather, we're around the early 80s, but anywhere from like 60 degrees up to about under 90, 15-minute dwell time is usually the average. So just kind of mind your climate, what's going on. Also, if it's already wet out, you don't have to spray as much water down, but you're gonna let that sit for about 15 minutes on average, give or take. Don't let it dry there, because then you'll ruin the windows potentially. Go back after you apply the chemical if you have to. If you're getting a little behind, just go rinse all the windows or any of those places where there might be electrical components or some type of an outdoor light fixture or fans, anything that could get damaged from the bleach. Give it an extra rinse if you get a little bit hung up. Go back, stop what you're doing, and do that. After about 15 minutes, we can go through and we can rinse everything off and make sure that it's nice and clean. Usually it's that easy. Pre-rinse things that need to be hydrated, apply the chemical, and then go rinse everything off from the top down. Now, when we apply the chemical, we're applying the chemical starting at the bottom and working our way up, one side at a time. When we're rinsing, we want to start from the top and work our way down one side at a time. So I hope that all makes sense. Let's get to spraying. Gotta hook up now. Here we go.
Don't get mad at me. I'm just a window cleaner, trying to build more than what's seen there. Not just that.
Okay, so now we've applied the chemical. Let's get on with the rinsing. Make sure to wear safety goggles. You don't want to get bleach in your eyes.
That's the blue ladder climb, heart and soul. Early in the morning, the sun starts to shine. Buckets and squeegees, this ladder's mine. Every paint a mirror, I can see my...
Quick note here. You see there's a little outlet right there that we have taped up. Even though it's taped up, you still have to be very careful. You don't want to spray directly at it. That tape could come off. So you're just going to want to go around it. And that should give it enough of a rinse where you get all the debris away without damaging that outlet. Again, you want to make sure that that tape is just backup. That's not your first line of defense. The first line of defense is using your brain the right way. That's just in case your brain glitches or you misslip and hit it with bleach. You don't want to spray bleach directly into an electric outlet, obviously, but be careful. We're giving them a little bit of a freebie. Gonna clean up this outdoor rug for them. Not all rugs should be hit with bleach, but when they can, we'll rinse for free.
Washing off the dirt, let its glory show.
We like to throw in a freebie whenever we can, just to make them happy, you know? It don't hurt, it looks much better.
We work with hands, but move with love. Don't get mad at me, I'm just a window cleaner, trying to build more than what's seen there. Not just ladders, we're changing lives, showing brothers how to ride, building dreams with heavenly goals. That's the blue ladder climb.
Okay, so I'm done with the soft wash. I have to go back around, and by the way, guys, side note, it's helpful if you do a video recording walking around the whole perimeter of the house, point out anything that you notice, and that way you have, sometimes there's things that you don't even notice, but if you get it on video while you're walking through, you can go back afterwards and be like, oh no, I didn't break that, it was already broken before I started. Or you just see the condition of things. And then you can also prove that you did tape outlets or that you did other things. If you have a crew working for you, it's helpful for them to do it. That way you can document if they're making mistakes and then train from it. But I'm done, so I'm walking around. I'm gonna check everything out. In the meantime, we're also cleaning the windows here. After you've soft washed the windows, the house, and hit the windows with the pressure washer, they're pretty easy to clean after that. The water that we use can leave little spots still, so it's not perfectly clean. The pure water system is going to be a fantastic follow-up, and we get to upcharge for that, so it doesn't hurt. But yeah, otherwise, we go through, we double check everything, we remove all the paint, make sure everything's in working order, and follow up with the customer, make sure they're happy. So hope that helps. If you guys have any other questions about soft washing in general, let me know, and I do my best to respond to every comment that I can. Things are getting busier, so if you really want to reach me, you can always become a member of the channel, and then you'll get my personal Facebook, I think, is on there, or you can find me on Instagram and DM me. But always here to help you guys as much as I can, as long as my hands aren't too full. So I'll see you guys around in the next video.